How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Philadelphia Flyers franchise mode, episode number 6, headed into the year number 2 simulation, the 2023-24 regular season. In the last one, we had quite the off-season, where it was a smaller draft. We went for quality over quantity, but we made a major move with the Detroit Red Wings. If you didn't catch it, let me bring you up to speed. We ended up trading Ivan Provorov with a prospect and some picks to the Detroit Red Wings for the rights to Claude Giroux, who we brought back on a one-year contract. We traded for his rights, signed him 1 year, $6.5 million. The captain of Philadelphia is back. The man who played his 1,000th game with Philadelphia and is now just 3 points away from his 1,000th point in his career. It's great to have him back, and the fans in Philly are extremely happy. But the player we also got from Detroit was Moritz Seider. Now, Moritz Seider in this universe has only played one season in the NHL, 82 games, 30 points, -16, and was promptly sent down to the AHL in year number 2. He scored 72 points, he was a plus 42, amazing, but he was an 86, 87 overall. He got sent down to the AHL. I was originally thinking, oh, well, maybe he got sent down as a 70-something and he grew, and it's not fair to take him from Detroit. No, Detroit knowingly sent down an 86, 87 overall defenseman, so I think that bridges have been permanently burnt between Seider and the Red Wings organization. We went ahead and traded for him because his trade value wasn't very high. He has one more year of his ELC, but we signed him to an 8-year extension, paying him just a bit shy of $7 million per year. So Moritz Seider is our future on the blue line. Doesn't have good chemistry right now. We'll have to think about the coaching, but just to say, having him as an 88 overall at 22 years of age, extended long term, with all the context taken into account, I think that was a masterful trade in my opinion. Of course, we had some growth over the offseason. Carter Hart is up to an 87 overall. We saw Cam York to an 84, Lindblom to an 85, Frost to an 84, Brink 82, all stuff like that. And the top 6, top 9 is looking quite solid. But now headed into the preseason, we do have some questions, mostly about the fourth line, because Strome, Ratcliffe, Allison could be a great fourth line, but there are some candidates down in the AHL, like Forster, McLaughlin, Blickfeld, even Lachinsky, and then on defense, we even have Enright, Wiley, guys who could be some fringe players for us. So whether they be 6th defenseman, 12th forwards, or 7th defenseman, 13th forward, or just our first guys we call up if we really get a lot of injury trouble, we're going to be using the preseason as a bit of an experiment to see who are those guys and how do they perform. For them to really stick on the team, as Scott says in his comment, they might have to be point per game or better to beat out our current forward and defensive core, but they at least deserve a peak. And getting into the rest of Scott's comment, as we're starting to begin the assistant general manager thoughts after the offseason, our biggest questions being what's up with the lineup, and probably also what's up with the captaincy, as we ran last year with 3 alternates but now have Claude Giroux back in the fold. Scott says, as far as captaincy, I still stand by the belief that Oscar Lindblom earned the C for all the reasons that I mentioned in the last comment. That said, I don't think it makes much sense, talking about realism, to bring Claude Giroux back and not give him the C. In fact, story-wise, maybe that was a sticking point in his contract negotiations. I still say Oscar gets an A and the born leader X factor, though. Also, after what he did for the team last season, no way does Oscar deserve to be put on the 3rd line, even though that is his role. So Oscar Lindblom here, 27 years of age. He is one of our alternate captains, listed as a 3rd line forward, but he is an 85 overall. One of our team leaders in points last year with 57 and 82. In the playoffs, he had 6 goals in 7 games in the first round, 8 points in 12 games overall. And of course, as mentioned, he does have the born leader superstar ability, boosts team energy on goals. He signed for 6 more years at just over $4 million, so it makes sense that he has an A. He may be the future captain. I think it's pretty much between him and Couturier right now, but I think that I'm going to go ahead and give the C to Claude Giroux. Not only does it make a lot of sense from story point because he was the captain for so long, he was only gone for a year and a half, now he's back, the fans are calling for it, but it was also probably a sticking point when it came to contract negotiations to say, if I'm coming back to Philadelphia, you have to give me the C. So Couturier was never the captain, the game just gave it to him, so A for Couturier, A for Lindblom right here. Seider had one too, so we'll take it off Seider. Probably a future leader of the team, but not quite yet. And the C goes back to Claude Giroux. Back to the comments now. Jackson says, what an offseason that was. Another GM data masterpiece, and everything makes sense given the context of this universe. I think Frost and Brink deserve a chance to try and stick on the second line. This season will be important for developing younger players into key members of the core. I also think that a new coach should be in order. I think it's most important to get a guy like Seider on good chemistry on the top pair so that he can have a real opportunity to grow into the 90s. That's something we definitely need to think about moving forward. Moritz Seider's chemistry does not give him a good fit on the first pair. We could put him on the second pair for better chemistry, but I'd rather have our 88 overall with who had just come off a crazy season in the AHL, give him a chance to really prove himself in the NHL. I want to give him those minutes unless something really goes wrong. The coaching staff, our head coach is good. His overall is A-, which is what you really need from a head coach. And his team chemistry at the moment is 64%. Great for Giroux, great for Sanheim, great for Ristolainen, etc. But not so great for Seider, Frost, York, Brink. Yeah, they'll move around, but Seider is a guy who really is going to be in that spot for a long time. First pair right D, we need to have good chemistry in that regard. Now, unfortunately, there aren't really any good head coaches available. Even if I want to hire one of these guys, the best ones are only B overall, which would hurt the team. But even that being said, if I were willing to take a risk on them, not many of them have great fits. Because yes, you have this great fit for Moritz Seider and a pretty solid fit overall for everybody else, but he is a B overall. Yeah, are we willing to do that right now? He got fired after coaching 1 year in Ottawa, going 41, 32, and 9. He wouldn't be the worst coach to hire chemistry-wise, but it would really hurt us, I think, in terms of the team's performance. Go from an A- coach to a B coach. And even then, that's just his fit with the lines as they are right now. We don't know how the lines are going to be moving forward. It could be that Sean Couturier moves back to first-line center. I don't know if Claude Giroux is staying first-line center. We still have the preseason to figure out. It could be, since Claude Giroux is eligible to play center left wing, we could go Giroux first-line left wing, Couturier first-line center, then Frost second-line center, Brink comes up here, Lawton goes third-line center, Farabee goes down, who knows what. This is just me doing a random thing. Like, this could be our lineup right here. +3, +2, that's cool. But with the lines like this now, Rick Sims' fit is now at a 59%, not as ideal. Now we see, okay, great for Seider, but everybody else has gone down a little bit. Tippett, Frost, not ideal. So I'm not going to commit to a new coach just yet, but I will say that getting a new coach is definitely on our to-do list. Usually July 1st is where that stuff happens, but we didn't know that we were going to need a new coach at the beginning of last off-season, so we didn't do it. So I'll keep the lines as they were, but they'll still definitely be moved around a little bit between now and the end of the preseason. Back to the comments now, and Cade leaves his first comment saying he watched the channel a ton during NHL 21, the first series that he is catching for NHL 22. Loves the vids and says keep up the great work. Cade, appreciate that so very much, and thank you for leaving your thoughts as an assistant general manager here. He loves all the moves that were made in the offseason, and Cade thinks that the Seider trade makes perfect sense in the context of the EA-verse. Also really like the Hart extension. We're going to wait to see if Carter Hart signs that extension that we sent to him, 4 years at $5 million per season. We have a lot of cap space on this team, but Cade says sit tight with what you have for now. The team can be improved for sure, but I think you have a good group right now, and we should see how the team works before using that cap space. Very well said. I'd definitely like to see Frost get some time in the top 6. He had some great growth last season, and with another good year, his potential may even jump. I think Brink will be best suited for third line plus power play time, but giving him a shot in the top 6 is definitely something to take a look at. Mark McLaughlin, by the way, the guy who is in our AHL system, who we signed as a UFA, he was actually a free agent out of the US system that the Bruins signed towards the end of the real-life 2021-22 season. He had a great few years at Boston College and made an immediate impact in the NHL with the Bruins with his work ethic, two-way play, and great shot. So it would be great to see him get a shot with the Flyers if we have some injuries or someone on the fourth line is really underperforming. Lastly, Lindblom for captain, and can your coach. So I agree with that again. Thank you, Cade. The coach is on his way out. Lindblom has a lot of fans for the future captaincy, but for this season he'll have the A, and I think giving him a full season of leadership will be a good little experience for him before he becomes an actual candidate for captain of the Flyers. Vinny echoes those thoughts about the captaincy, saying that going into next year, I think that Giroux should get it automatically, but have the likes of Lindblom and Couturier in the front running for after he decides to leave the team. Great video data, looking forward to what the Flyers can do going into next season. Etch agrees that we definitely need that new coach sooner rather than later. He would also recommend signing the defenseman that we got in the first round to an entry-level deal. The only reason I'm not going to do that right now is because we have so many defensemen. Taking a pause on this comment right now in the system in the AHL. A lot of these guys won't necessarily make the team, but they are serviceable guys who have, you know, top 6, top medium 7th. They have some potential. So I'd rather give these guys the chance and not burn a year of Henritius on his ELC, or even if it doesn't burn the year, I'd rather give him a season wherein he's able to have top pair minutes as opposed to kind of being buried because there are better overall players in the AHL. But it does make sense we'd want to get an idea of his scheme sooner rather than later when it comes to the coach that we'll get and if it's going to be a good fit. Morgan Frost should also start on the second line. If after 10 to 15 games he isn't producing, you can drop him down to the third again. And to balance out Lindblom's less ice time on the third line, I'd make sure he's on the first power play unit, unless he doesn't fit the scheme, but we'll see what happens overall in that regard. Thank you, Esh, for that comment. And closing it out in the Discord server, the Gritishers' thoughts are, only suggestion would be to give Frost extra time in special teams since he's listed as a second line forward. That's especially if we're going to be playing him as a third liner, and gives you the captaincy again. Besides that, let it roll. Great trade for Sider. This team is shaping up nicely. Let's get some growth. Keep drafting well. We've got tons of cap flexibility now. Just need to get our coaching staff set up. Loving this. Thank you very much, everybody. With all of that being said, let's get into the preseason now. I'm going to go ahead and send out the scouts as I always do to start off the preseason. But once we get to the preseason itself, we're going to be going through it quite quickly. What I always do is, here's the lineup for game 1 of the preseason. Here's the box score for the game log of how things went. And now, because of that, here are the changes headed into game 2 of the preseason. Now here's the game log of game 2, stuff like that. So we don't take up too much time in the video and we can just get straight to the regular season itself. So I'll send out the scouts and let's simulate up to game number 1 of the 2023 preseason. Alright, so advancing towards the preseason now, we're going to see that extension. There we go. Not much doubt in my mind. Carter Hart, it was an easy decision to decide to renew my contract with you. It's important for me to get what I want, blah, blah, blah. So he gets $20 million over the next 4 seasons. As he had a pretty solid season, I do have to say, last year. He's proven himself to be the guy in the crease for us. So 4 years at $5 million each, I think that's an okay commitment. Couple seconds for Trocheck and Wood. I'm going to turn that down because I don't need more trouble in my top 6 right now. But let's get ready for game number 1 of the preseason, and this is how our lineup will look. Alright, so we'll go Farabee, Giroux, Tippett on the first line, Lindblom, Frost, and Brink on the second, Ratcliffe, Lawton, Allison on the third, Strome, McLaughlin, and McEwen on the fourth. Defense, York and Sider. Let's see how they do as a top pair. Enright, who we got in that deal with the Coyotes when we sent Atkinson and Hayes to Arizona for Stastny and Kessel. Enright, the last remaining piece of that trade tree. Medium top 6 D-man, 6'1" with 5-star physical, 98 shot blocking, 98 stick checking. We'll give him some second pair minutes with Rasmus Ristolainen. Third pair will be Big Ronnie with Jeremy Lauzon. Goaltending, we'll give Malcolm Subban the start, backed up by Ustimenko. We already know that Carter Hart is our guy, but I want to see between Subban, Ustimenko, and Sandstrom, who's the best number 3? Subban probably the best number 2 of those, but who's the best number 3 as well? We'll get some time for Wiley and Lachinsky later on, but there is the lineup for game number 1 against the Hurricanes. A solid 4-1 win against the Hurricanes. The first goal of the game went to Claude Giroux. Great to see that. Ronnie had 2 assists. Ratcliffe had a goal and an assist. Allison, Frost, Lawton, Giroux, Tippett, McLaughlin with a goal as well. Brink with a goal, and McEwen the other assist. So goals from Ratcliffe, McLaughlin, Brink, and Claude Giroux. Any minuses in this one? No, just some zeros. Sider with 27.50 of ice time. My goodness. He had 3 shots on net. And goaltending in this one, Malcolm Subban, 24 saves on 25 shots. Solid stuff. Good to see +2s from that third defensive pair. And the bottom 6. Nothing from Farabee and Lindblom here, but let's just try and mix things up a little bit. I like that the McLaughlin scored that goal with only 8 minutes of ice time. Bobby Brink looked pretty solid as well, so let's make some changes headed into game 2 of the preseason. So we'll swap Brink and Farabee in the top 6. Nothing else changed over there. Third line, McLaughlin, he was playing fourth line center, but I just realized not only are his faceoffs bad, he has 53 for his faceoffs. So how about I slap him on the wing, put him on his offside as a right-handed shooter with Lawton and Ratcliffe a +1 on the third line, Allison, Lachinsky, and McEwen on the fourth. Lachinsky had a very limited time in the preseason last year. 2 games, no points, was a +1. In the AHL last season, 55 points. So, hey, let's see what he does. Defense will remain untouched, and goaltending will give Kirill Ustimenko the start. Okay, big 5-4 win. It was a late scare, but we had 2 shorthanded goals in this game as well that really helped us out. The goal scorers were Zach McEwen shorthanded, Moritz Seider shorthanded, who played almost a half hour in a regular 60-minute game. Farabee, Tippett, and McLaughlin, 2 goals in 2 games now. A lot of players with points as well. Only a few negatives in this one. Allison, Lachinsky, York, Ronnie, and Lauzon. All the guys. York had almost 23 minutes of ice time, but Allison and Lachinsky -1s with just under 7 minutes. Not ideal from that fourth line. But the rest of the lineup looked great, so I might make some fourth line and third D pair changings, but I think we'll keep the rest as is headed into our third game. Oh, and Ustimenko allowed 4 goals, but on 43 shots, so a 39 save performance from the 75 overall. A good outing. Alright, time for game 3 of the preseason. The top 9 remains untouched. Fourth line centerman will be Tyson Forster, the Flyers' first-round pick, 23rd overall back in 2020. Over on defense, we're going to take out Lauzon and put in Wyatt Wiley, who was a 5th-round pick in 2018. He will play with Ronnie. Goaltending will have Felix Sandstrom starting, with Ustimenko backing up. My goodness, a huge 8-1 win for the Flyers over the Rangers. We're looking great out here. Owen Tippett had a 4-point night in under 16.5 minutes of ice time. A goal and 3 assists for him. 2 goals from Giroux. 2 goals from Wade Allison. A goal from Bobby Brink. A goal from Lawton. And a goal from Farabee. 2 assists from Ristolainen. 2 assists from Frost. Great performances all around. Enright an assist and a +3. Seider an assist and a +3. Ronnie looking good as well. Any negatives in this one or zeros? No, just the zeros of Lawton, Ratcliffe, and McEwen, who only had a minute 39 of ice time, so must be due to injury right there. And goaltending as well. Sandstrom, 24 saves on 25 shots, not making it easy for who's going to be our third goaltender, even our backup at this point. We'll give Malcolm Subban another start. I'm going to start mixing up the lineup a bit. We've been looking very solid with this as our top 9, but we got to get Couturier, Konechny, and Sanheim and Ellis and all these guys that are back in the lineup. So we'll make a little bit of a change headed into game 4. Okay, game 4, we're going to try Giroux on the wing with Couturier centering the first line, connecting on the right. It gives that first line a +5, which is huge. Lindblom, Frost, Farabee on the second, Ratcliffe, Lawton, Brink on the third, Strome, Forster, Allison on the fourth. I'm going to give McLaughlin a night off because I want to get a little bit more of Matthew Strome, who's only played 1 game so far. Defense, York, Ellis, Wiley, Ristolainen, give him more minutes, Wiley, and Enright with Ronnie. Between the pipes, it'll be Malcolm Subban, backed up by Ustimenko. In the 4th game of the preseason, we drop 4-2. A couple goals in this one from Cam York and Isaac Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe's been quite impressive, I do have to say, but a -2 in this one. Lindblom and Frost were +1s, but Ratcliffe, Lawton, York, well, Ratcliffe and Lawton the -2s, and then everyone from York all the way to Couturier -1s. So not a great show from most of the team. Goaltenders, Subban allowed 3 goals and 26 shots. We made 23 saves, 885 save percentage. I don't know. There was one comment that mentioned looking into getting a Malcolm Subban replacement. It wouldn't be a bad idea to even just look at free agency to see who's still around at the beginning of the season now, who has been left over in free agency now at the beginning of 2023. Still some good RFAs out there, but goalies, sorting by overall, we have, oh my goodness, okay, so there's Comrie, Elliott, a couple of 81s, and a good number of 80s. Subban himself is an 81 overall, but Eric Comrie is interesting because he has the starter potential. He wants a league minimum contract. He's 28 years of age. How does he simulate may be a question here. Had a great season down in the AHL last year. So you know what? I'm down to give Eric Comrie an audition at the very least. Because as good as Ustimenko and Sandstrom have been, I don't think they can really be our full-time backup. One of them will be our full-time third goalie, but the other one's going back to the AHL. I don't think I can have a 75 backup and a 75 third goalie. If we run into injury trouble, we're really going to be up the creek. So simulating to the game against New Jersey, we'll see if Eric Comrie signs on. He does not just yet, so he won't get the start in this one. But let's check out our lineup for the 5th game of the preseason. Okay, so here's an idea of how the lineup may actually look to start the regular season, but we're still in the preseason, obviously. We're going to go Giroux, Couturier, Konechny with the +5. We'll give them another chance. Farabee, Frost, Tippett, second line. Lindblom, Lawton, Brink on the the third, McLaughlin, Ratcliffe, Allison on the fourth. Defense will go York Ellis, Sanheim, Ronnie, Enright, and Wiley. The defense isn't what we think it'll be, but the forwards is what I think it possibly may be. Goaltenders will be Ustimenko getting the start, backed up by Felix Sandstrom. Another big offensive night in this one as the Flyers take down the Devils 6-4. All the scoring coming in the first two periods. Goal scorers in this one, we had 2 from Tippett, 2 from Giroux, 1 from Brink, and 1 from Sanheim, who was back in the lineup. 2-point games as well from Farabee, Couturier, and Ellis. Assists from Ratcliffe, who continues to do great. Konechny, Frost. Now I'm going to touch upon the power play lines, I think. I'm going to see if I can get Ratcliffe and Brink a little extra power play time because of how well they've been doing despite being third and fourth liners respectively. -1s from a few players, unfortunately. -2 from Tippett. Wow. Farabee, Frost, Lindblom -1, Lawton -1. Yeah, so the defense I'm still going to be playing around with. And goaltending, 32 saves on 36 shots for Ustimenko, 889 save percentage. Next game will be Sandstrom's. Unless, actually, Eric Comrie wants to sign on before the game against the Capitals. And yeah, extremely happy to accept the offer. Eric Comrie, welcome aboard. Let's give him the start in Washington with just 2 preseason games left. So forwards stay the same headed into Game 6 of the preseason, but defensively, we got Risto back in the lineup. All we're missing now is Moritz Seider. Enright still getting one last little audition there. Goaltending will be Comrie, backed up by Sandstrom. A close 3-2 loss against the Capitals in this one. Goal scorers were Bobby Brink once again and Owen Tippett, who's had a crazy preseason here. Points as well from York, Farabee, and Frost. Negative pluses for York and Ellis. -2 for Ronnie. That hurts. -1s for Farabee, Frost, Enright, Sanheim, and Konechny. Eric Comrie, 26 saves on 29 shots, 3 goals against. Not fantastic, but it's becoming a bit more clear that Sandstrom is probably the third goalie, but does Comrie beat out Subban for the starting role? So I think next game in the final preseason tune-up, we'll get the lineup how we think it's actually going to be minus Carter Hart, and we'll do one final audition for the goaltenders. So when it comes to who's going to be our 6th and 7th D-man, Jeremy Lauzon in 2 games, 4 penalty minutes, and a +1. Ronnie had 3 assists in 6 games, was a -2, and Enright in 6 games had 2 assists and was a +4. I lean Enright being like our 7th D-man, but I want him to get top pair minutes in the AHL also. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and send down Enright at this time, but he looked great. We know we can rely on him moving forward. Now the question will be who gets the full-time spot on the 3rd pair, Lauzon or Ronnie. That'll be what we figure out in this last game. Owen Wiley also looked alright. 1 assist +1 in 3 games with over 16.5 minutes per night. So again, good things to keep in mind. Final preseason tune-up, we're going to go Giroux, Couturier, Konechny, Farabee, Frost, Tippett, Lindblom, Lawton, Brink, McLaughlin, Ratcliffe, Allison. Defense, York Seider, Sanheim, Ellis, Lauzon, Ristolainen. Eric Comrie will get the start. Also on the power play, +3 and 2 for the 1st and 2nd units respectively. So good to keep in mind if that will be the personnel that we keep moving into the regular season. Final tune-up will be against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're 4-2-0. We've been looking good. Let's simulate through this one. First period 2-0. Second period still 2-0. Third period 3-0 the final. Wow, 22 save shutout from Eric Comrie. Not a huge job, but a shutout nonetheless. 2 goals in this one for Ryan Ellis. How about that? A goal from Morgan Frost and assists from Farabee, Tippett, Brink, and Ristolainen. All right. Negatives, no negatives, just some zeros along the way. So I think I'm content with this as the forward. The 4th line left wing is probably what's kind of had me thinking the most. McLaughlin had 2 goals in the first 2 games, but then nothing in the 4 games after that. But he is a big boy. He's 6 feet tall. He helps that 4th line out with Ratcliffe and Allison. Just because it's not Strome doesn't mean that there's no tough guy presence there, right? So Tippett, 10 points in 6 games. Brink, Frost, both with 8. Farabee 6, Giroux 5 goals in 7 games as the 1st line left winger. Ratcliffe had 5 points in 7 games. Ellis 4 in 4. Lawton with 4. Allison 3. Seider 3 in 4. Ronnie with 3. Couturier only 2 assists in 4 games, which is really scaring me, especially after the postseason that he had. Konechny 1 assist in 4 games, also scaring me. So, although I'm content to start the season as we had it, a few scary trends out there. Even Lindblom with 2 assists. Konechny, Lindblom, and Couturier all combined for 0 goals. So, that's the scary part. Speaking of some of these guys like Konechny, should we think about giving him some X factors, superstar abilities moving forward? Even Moritz Seider, who doesn't have any right now, do we want to think about giving him some headed into next season, or even at the halfway point of this season when we go ahead and stop? For the goaltenders, so we have Eric Comrie, who went 1-1 with a shutout. Sandstrom looked great. Subban actually looked okay too. So I think we're going to have more experimentation moving forward. I think we'll send Sandstrom down for the moment, but once we decide between Comrie and Subban for who's our actual backup, then we can bring Sandstrom up as the third goalie, because already the AHL is kind of crowded. Of course, Carter Hart is our starter. It would have been good to give him a bit of a tune-up, but we needed all 7 games to kind of figure out what we were going to be doing. Even McEwen, though, for 13th forward, in 3 games he had 3 points and was a +2. I think that's better than Matthew Strome, who was pointless in 2 games. You know what? Let's bring McEwen up. Strome can stay first line AHL probably. We'll fix those lines up momentarily. But I think McEwen made a better case for 13th forward in the short time that he was here. He had a small injury. So let me fix up these lines in the NHL and the AHL, and we'll head into the regular season. Okay, so here is our starting lineup to begin 2023-24. And not very much has changed since like Game 6 of the preseason. We'll start off like this and make changes as needed. Defense looking like that with Moritz Seider, the workhorse on the top pair. And of course, Carter Hart, our starting goalie. We'll start with Comrie as the backup, but he and Subban will both get opportunities throughout the season. Ronnie is 7th D. McEwen is 13th forward. After Lauzon didn't look crazy great, but I don't know. He had a better plus-minus through 3 games. I don't know. I'm just going to start with him as the higher overall, but Ronnie is definitely just right behind him. So the first game of 2023-24 will be on the road in New Jersey at Prudential Center in a Metropolitan Division matchup. So here we go. After a strong preseason from guys like Tippett, 5 goals from Giroux, weaker ones from guys like Couturier and Konechny. Let's see who's ready to really show up when the lights go on and the curtain comes up. It is showtime here in our second year with the Flyers, game 1 of 82 in New Jersey. Let's do it. First period, 1-1 game after 20. Trocheck opens it up on the power play, but Bobby Brink scores the first goal of the season from behind the red line at our own blue line. It's just in front of our own blue line. Is that it? My goodness. Second period now. No scoring. Shots 24-22 for the Devils. We're tied at 1, headed into the third. A goal from distance from Bobby Brink tying this game up, but Miles Wood gives the Devils that 1-goal lead, 2-1. And with about 12 minutes to go, shots tied at 28. Devils pulling away a little bit. Power play for the Flyers, and Ratcliffe scores on the power play. After an extremely strong preseason, he found his way onto the power play and scores a power play goal. The Pony Killers kill off a Devils goal, and Farabee puts his head with a minute to go, and that'll be all she wrote as the Flyers take the first game of the season. What a resilient bunch. Ratcliffe with that huge power play goal. Farabee with a minute 12 to go. We end the shots 36-35 in our favor, and a late winner from Farabee gives us the 3-2 final. Wow, Hart makes 33 saves as well to get the first star honors. A big game for Philadelphia to start off this season and give the fans something to be excited about. What a great victory there to start off the season. Let's get into some calendar simulation now. And we'll just get 2 or 3 weeks under our belts before we start thinking about evaluating anything. And speaking of Ratcliffe, injured shoulders, he's going to be out for, I think that's like a week or 2. So he'll come off the 4th line. McLaughlin, I guess he'll get some, I don't know. Should I really give him any center time with 53 faceoffs? Probably not. Allison has 65 faceoffs. Actually, you know what? McEwen, who will be filling in, I believe he has like 70 faceoffs. He does, 70 faceoffs. So, hey, Zach McEwen, get on that 4th line. The center role is yours. Special teams will have Ryan Ellis slot in. Why not? He had 2 goals in that game in the preseason. Why not? Let's put Ryan Ellis on the power play. Maintains the +3. Wonderful. Owen Tippett, now a mild concussion. Okay, the injuries are starting to come our way now. So that's where we got to call somebody up. So it's good that we saw a little bit from a lot of people. Okay, it won't even let me look, but at least I can go to roster moves and say that Strome can come up. By the way, Blichfeld, I never gave him any really time in the preseason because I knew that he was a guy that we could trust. Actually, I'd probably call him up over Strome. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's true. That's why I didn't bother giving him preseason time, because I knew that he would be a guy that we could rely on as a 79 overall who did well, I believe, in the NHL last season. So Blichfeld will come up to the NHL. Lines will look like this. Bing, bang, bong. All right, back to... I've got to fix the AHL. Okay, back to simulation now. I don't know what I don't know what is happening right now. Wrong screen, jumping around, black screen there. But okay, 6-3 loss against the Senators on the road, 4-2 victory against the Stars. It's a massive road trip to begin the season. Actually, when are we actually at home? When's our first home game? Not until we play against Vegas. So it's a month plus road trip here as we'll play our first 13 games of the season on the road. That is probably a record. There must be some massive renovations going on at Wells Fargo. So the first 13 of the games of the year, I hope that you packed a lot of luggage, because that's oh my goodness. And Carter Hart sprained finger. 3 little injuries like that coming up back to back to back. So at least now we get to see some goaltending action, as I'm sure Eric Comrie played a little bit. Yeah, he made 37 saves. All right, Comrie and Subban now splitting the crease. Can we please get some time simulated until we bump into more problems? 4-3 loss, Owen Tippett's back. And so is Ratcliffe, actually. So now it's just Carter Hart, the last injury away from us being a fully healthy team. 5-4 shootout win against the San Jose Sharks. Carter Hart is now back, but that means we have to send somebody down. So that means Blichfeld will be going down to the AHL. Does he have to go through waivers? All these guys are waiver eligible, so that's the tough part. Yeah, we just got to risk it, I guess. Blichfeld is going to have to go through waivers, and he clears. Fantastic. Okay, my goodness. Now, it's a playable injury still for Hart, so we won't put him back in the lineup just yet, but let's keep on simulating. As he'll start against the Lightning, but Subban will start here against... Oh, my goodness. Sore foot for McLaughlin, who hasn't even been that good. McEwen drawing back into the lineup. How's Subban doing here? 934 save. Oh, we got a shutout in that last game, eh? Ooh, he's really fighting for his life out here. So let's keep Subban as the backup. I was ready to say Comrie going to be the backup for the next little bit, but now we'll go Subban the backup after that shutout with Carter Hart starting. So can they actually show me what the... No, they wouldn't show me what it was. I have to stop the simulation. Please just show me what happened last game. A 1-0 shutout against the Jets. Beautiful. Let's keep on going through this road trip, which has been just a terrible time of injuries. But we are 5-2-0 through 7 games, which is very nice. Carter Hart gets the start in Tampa, who are they're 7-4-0. We beat them 4-1. Big win against the Lightning. The Blackhawks are also 7-4-0. They beat us 6-3. McLaughlin back to full health. But do we keep McEwen in at this point? McEwen, 7 games, -1, no points. Meanwhile, McLaughlin, 7 games, -5, no points. You know what? None of them look great, but one has a way better plus-minus, so let's just try that out. You gotta stop the simulation again, because then it updates. There you go. 4-3 shootout loss against the Blues. So many glitches when it comes to things like injuries and lines. Head coach can do that down in the AHL. Rangers beat us 4-2. Bruins beat us 5-3. Tough little streak there, but then we break it with a 4-3 win against the Senators, and we are 7-5-1 as we finally come home to Philadelphia to take on the 8-7-2 Vegas Golden Knights here at the Wells Fargo Center. We'll have a few games at home, 10 goals and 16 points in 13 games for Sean Couturier, who has finally woken up and joined us here in reality. So let's do it here. Our first home game of the season for your 7-5-1 Flyers. Let's try and open up with a big win. Claude Giroux back on home ice with the C on his jersey. Big ceremony to start the game. Banner goes up for winning the Metropolitan Division last season. Let's show these fans what we can do. First period, 2-0 Flyers. Owen Tippett and Jérémy Lauzon. 2-0 Philly after 20. Second period now, 2-1 as Shea Theodore brings Vegas within 1. Shots 25-20 for the Golden Knights, but the Flyers still hold a 1-goal lead here in the third period. The fans would go ballistic for a Claude Giroux goal right now, but I think they'd take anyone scoring to just give them a little bit of a cushion. Power play Vegas, killed off by the Flyers, and Oscar Lindblom puts the Flyers up by 2 with the A on his jersey. Not Claude Giroux, but another fan favorite. I think they'll take that at the Wells Fargo Center. Up by 2 with a minute to go, holding on tight. My goodness, a 40 save performance from Carter Hart, and the Flyers take down Vegas by a score of 3-1. Carter Hart 40 saves for first star honors. Lauzon with a goal. Farabee 2 assists. Great game in front of the home fans to get our 8th win of the season. So now we have a little bit of a homestand here. I think maybe like 3 games, 4 games, not really much of a homestand. Yeah, 4 games, and we'll go see that 4th game, which will be up against the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that eliminated us in the postseason last year in round number 2 in 6 games, I believe, correct? 6-3 win against the Buffalo Sabres in a back-to-back there over the weekend, and a 3-2 win against the Penguins. We're currently on a 4-game winning streak and a 3-game home winning streak. Let's try and finish it off and go 4 for 4 here against the Hurricanes. They are 9-9-0. We're 10-5-1, and we are hungry for revenge. First period here at home, 3-2. A lot of scoring in this one. Ryan Ellis opens it up. Domi and Martin have scored twice to go up 2-1. Farabee ties it up in the power play, and then Morgan Frost puts us ahead. Shots 13-8 after 20. We're up by 1. Second period now, more scoring as Bobby Brink makes it 2 and Owen Tippett makes it 3. Shots 24-15 for the Flyers, and we have a 3-goal lead headed into the third. Power play Philly, killed off by the Hurricanes. We are hungry for revenge, and we want to show them that we mean business this season. The Flyers kill off that Hurricanes power play halfway through the third, still up by 3. I think that will be all she wrote with 5 minutes to go, and yes, it will be. 5-2 the final. Shots end 34-24. And let's see the 3 stars in this one. Frost a goal and 2 assists. Farabee a goal and an assist. Tippett a goal and assist. And that is a 5-game winning streak for the Flyers now. And 4 for 4 at home after that 13-game road trip. So now we go back on the road, but then back at home, it's a bit more realistic moving forward. But let's take a pause on the 20-game points. So we're at what now? 17. So that's game 18, 19, 20. Let's stop after the game against Vancouver, which will be the game against Montreal. So 3 more until we get to game number 20, which would be a good little spot to figure out how we're doing. The Penguins beat us 4-3 in the shootout, and then want to trade us JT Compher. We're in Washington to take on the Capitals, who are 14-5-2. Wow, they bombard us 7-2. And then the Vancouver Canucks beat us, 6-2. So after a 4-game winning streak, we go, technically not 3 games in a row, but 0-2-1 in our last 3 after a 5-game winning streak to bring us to a record of 11-7-2. So through those 20 games, Sean Couturier back to his form of last season. He has 11 goals and 20 points, point per game. Love to see that. He's playing over 23 minutes a night. Meanwhile, Oscar Lindblom, he has 8 goals, 15 points in 20 games. He's playing only 16.5 minutes per night. So maybe we think about increasing his ice time, although he's already getting a fair amount for a guy who's listed as a third-line scoring forward. Yes, he's 85. Yes, he's amazing. But just to say, we're already giving him a decent amount. Maybe we give him even more. Claude Giroux also 15, and Ryan Ellis also 15 points. Last season, he scored 31 in 82, but now he's on pace for like 61, 62 points with 15 through 20. So maybe we give him more power play time or first unit time. I don't know what. But I want to mix up the defense a little bit, as you'll see with Moritz Seider's totals in a moment. Konechny, Farabee, both with 14 in 20. Frost with 12. Tippett, 11 in 17. I'm liking him very much so far. Lawton, 11. Brink with 10. Moritz Seider, 10 points, which is great. -4 in 20 games. Is that the goaltending? Is that the team around him? I'm not sure, but the -2 on his top pairing is definitely not helping. The man is a workhorse at over 26 minutes per night, but that -2 is really making me unhappy right now, because I think he could be doing even better, despite him doing pretty well so far. So we'll look into that. Cam York, 8 points, -4, his line mate there. Ratcliffe definitely slowed down, but he's had a few heroic moments. 4 points in 16 games. Ristolainen, 4. Sanheim, 3. McEwen, 3 in 17. Lauzon, 3 points, -5 in 20 games. Now that we saw him for a little bit, let's take him out and put Ronnie in and see how he does, because Ronnie, has he played at all? No, he hasn't. Allison, 2 points in 20, and McLaughlin, no points, -5 in 7 games. Has not been fantastic. Goaltending's been all over the place. Carter Hart is 9-4-2 with an .896 save percentage and 3.39 goals against average. Malcolm Subban, 2-1-0 with a shutout, 9-14 and 2.48. And Eric Comrie's 0-2-0, but the best save percentage at 925 and second best goals against average at 2.68. So all that to say, it's been an odd time between the crease, but with the first 20 games out of the way and an 11-7-2 record, I think there are a couple of changes we can think about. First off, I want to try a Farabee-Lindblom swap. Farabee already gets a lot of ice time, so I'm not too worried about him. He gets 16.5. Bobby Brink gets 13. Now he got, I can't. So I don't know, but putting him down, he's a high top 6 guy. Just for the moment, because I want to try that +2 on the second line. It's connecting with the +5. It's not really being super impressive. I'd almost put Tippett or even Lindblom or Farabee up there over Konechny right now. Konechny's playing over 20 minutes a night. Maybe he's the guy that switches with Farabee instead. It maintains the +3. Tough call, but I think for the moment I'm going to go Tippett top line. We're going to say forget the +5 unless it really starts hurting Couturier. Tippett's been great, so we're going to give him the top line with Giroux and Couturier. Lindblom, Frost, Konechny, and then Farabee, Lawton, Brink on the third. Maybe we swap Farabee and Konechny over time, but we'll keep it like that right now. The fourth line, they're not a scoring line, so as long as they're not negatives, and they look okay so far, so we'll keep them as is. Defense, Moritz Seider just has to play with anyone that doesn't give him a negative, and there isn't anybody. But Sanheim makes it from a -2 to a -1. So let's try Sanheim Seider on the first pair, York Ellis on the second, and we'll go Ronnie with Ristolainen on the third. And that gives it a +2. Plus, if Ronnie plays with Seider, that gives the pair an even ± of 0. But I'm not sure if I can really put Ronnie on the top pair minutes. So I'll go Sanheim Seider, York Ellis, Ronnie, Ristolainen. And then for the special teams, I want to give a little extra ice time to Ryan Ellis. And I think we'll have to pull out Isaac Ratcliffe to do that, although I've really been enjoying having Isaac Ratcliffe there. I don't know if it's really going to work out. I think I'll put Brink on the top power play to give him more ice time. And then second unit defenseman will be Ryan Ellis because Moritz Seider is on the first one already. Takes away the chemistry, but he's been scoring very well. He's hot, so let's reward him for that. Seider, the right-handed shot. Brink also right-handed, but that's okay because he's going to be in a playmaking role. And goaltenders, I think we'll keep rolling with Hart and Subban. Comrie, McLaughlin, Lozon as the scratches. Yeah, I think we'll roll like that after we saw the first 20 games. Let's sim another 10 or so, and then we'll start to get a better idea. As we get close to the halfway point, that is where we'll be stopping the video for part 1 of the season. We're at Le Centre Bell in Montreal. The Canadiens are 13-10-1. We are coming off of, the 6-2 loss, the 7-2 loss. So let's see if those changes to the lineup can help us out a little bit in Montreal. First period, 1-0 Flyers. Zach McEwen, there he is. Fourth line coming through. Second period now, 2-0 Claude Giroux on Carey Price. We're more than doubling the shots, 28-13. But it's only a 2-goal lead, the most dangerous lead in hockey. Power play Flyers, and Morgan Frost makes it 3-0. Thank you very much. Can we go ahead and call it a night? We're getting close to that point. Still more than doubling the shots. Let's call it a night as we finish. Oh, boy. 3-2 the final. Dvorak scores with 7.5 to go, and Radulov back on the Canadiens scores with 4 minutes left. But we hang on for the 3-2 win. Morgan Frost, the game winner. Shots end 42-24, but we win it 3-2 the final. The 3 stars of the game, all from the Canadiens. Nice hometown bias at the Bell Center. Come on. But a win is a win, and we're now 12-7-2, 6-3-1 in our last 10. Let's go to the Detroit Red Wings in about a week and a half, the team that we beat in 6 games in round number 1, and the team that we got Moritz Seider and Claude Giroux from. So definitely a lot of animosity perhaps between the two teams. 3-2 shootout win against the Dallas Stars. That could be a head coach. 1-0 loss against the Maple Leafs, unfortunately. The Jets are 26-1. They beat us 6-4. We beat the Rangers 4-3. We're back in Montreal after we beat them 3-2 about a week and a half earlier. This time we lose 4-3 in the shootout. We are 14-9-3, taking on the 9-13-3 Detroit Red Wings without Seider, without Giroux, but they have Ivan Provorov and a good pool of prospects. Let's see what happens here. First period, an early goal from Shane Gostisbehere, of course, one of the former Flyers on Detroit, but Moritz Seider scores against the team that drafted and buried him. 1-1 game after 20, as a couple of former team players score against their old teams. Second period, Trenin scores. Giroux ties it up against his team they spent a year on. Janssen retakes the lead. Frost reestablishes the tie. But then Hronek, with 30 seconds left, makes it a 4-3 game for the Wings. Shots 25-21 for Detroit. It is a 1-goal game headed into the third and final period. Giroux and Seider both scoring tonight. Power play, Sean Couturier makes it 4-4 now, getting one past Sebastian Cossa. Power play, Detroit is killed off, but Thomas Hertl scores soon after. Halfway through the third, we are once again down by 1, now down by 2 as Zadina extends the lead. 6 goals on 34 shots past Carter Hart, who has been getting me a little bit scared as of late. Final minute in this one, and that'll be all she wrote. 6-4 the final as Detroit take it. 3 stars. Hronek Konechny had 3 assists. That's cool to see. But since making those line changes, we are 3-3-1. Not ideal. Let's go another week. So 3-3-1. We're going to play against the Jackets, another winning team. Let's make a quick change here in the AHL. Back to the calendar now. Yeah, Vegas. Hey, give me your second, your fourth, and a prospect, and I'll give you a second. Basically, kind of a fourth and a prospect for free. Yeah, varon coucher. We are 3-3-1 since those trades. Now 4-3 since those line changes. 4-3-1, 5-3-1. Okay, that's what we needed to see. A 3-2 win in the shootout against the Sharks, and then a 6-0 shutout of the Lightning. Let's keep on simulating then. Let's go into the month of January. And, yeah, let's go to January 2nd there against the Ducks. We beat the Blue Jackets 6-4. That's a big win against a good team. We go Florida, Montreal, Florida. Another 6-4 win. Our last 3 wins have been when we scored 6 goals. We shut the Canadiens out 4-0. Taking on the Panthers once again after beating them 6-4. Now we shut them out 5-0. Back-to-back shutout victories. LA Kings beat us 4-1. We're now 20-11-3 on the year. And after that, before that loss, we were on a 5-game winning streak. Very good. That included 3 shutouts to boot. So very, very happy to see that from the goaltending. I want to know, though, which goalies were doing what. So Carter Hart is now 15-8-3 with 2 shutouts through 29 games. He has a .900 save percentage, but is still allowing almost 3.25 goals per game. Malcolm Subban, meanwhile, in 8 games is 5-1-0, and 2 of his 5 wins have been shutout victories. .931 save percentage and 2 goals against average. I thought that Subban was a bit shaky. That's why we brought in Eric Comrie, but it looks like Subban is saying, no, I am the backup on this team, and I might even push Carter Hart out of the crease a couple games more than I should because of how well I've been playing. So we'll keep that in mind. You know, we can definitely trust him more than I thought we could, especially now in a back-to-back situation, as we'll take on the Ducks and then the Flames. So let's put Subban in for this one. The Ducks are 18-13-5. Subban will start over Hart, and depending how he does, maybe he'll even get the start against the Flames in a couple of Pacific Division road trip games here. Starting at the Honda Center. This is game 35 on the season. We're almost at the halfway point, about to start thinking about wrapping things up. First period action, 2-1 Ducks. McEwen scoring for us. Second period, 4-2. Ryan Ellis scoring for us. 4 goals on 24 shots past Malcolm Subban. Come on, buddy, after I pumped you up, let's go. Third period down by 2. Power play Anaheim. Killed off. Shots 31-29 in our favor. We have the power play now. Killed off by Anaheim. Halfway through the third. Under 10 to go and still down by 2, but leading in the shot category with 5 minutes left. Not over yet. We're approaching 40 shots. Is it John Gibson in there? And Adam Henrique adds an empty netter. Yikes, if you drop it 5-2. Not a horrible showing. Gibson, yeah, making 36 saves. And we'll turn to Carter Hart for the game against Calgary. Advancing a day now to the game against the Flames. We'll just simulate through it. I just want to see a quick result there. It is a 4-1 win. Thank you very much. So Carter Hart, he heard that GM Data was really talking up Malcolm Subban. He said, hold on, I am the starter here. Don't you forget that. 36 games down, so 37, 38, 39, 40, and game number 41, the halfway point, will be up against the Washington Capitals. That will be a home game. A little homestand coming up, actually, as we'll play the Rangers, Blue Jackets, Capitals, Islanders, and Avalanche all at home. 3-2 shootout victory against the LA Kings. Vegas Golden Knights now on the road. We shut them out 2-0. Very, very nice. New York Rangers, who are 26-13-2. They beat us 6-3. Columbus Blue Jackets, who are 21-16-3. Very good records here. We beat them 4-3 in the shootout. And the official halfway point here against the Caps, we're 24-13-3. They're 20-16-5. We'd love to end off the season, the halfway point of the season, with 25 wins and be on pace for 50. First period, 1-1 game. Bemstrom scores on the power play. Then Sean Couturier back on a power play of our own. Second period now, 2-1 Flyers. Ryan Ellis, there he is. We're being outshot 22-12, but we're up by 1 headed into this third period. Power play Washington early on, killed off by the Flyers. 2-2 Ovi on the power play, understandable. We're being outshot by double at the moment. Power play Washington once again, and Hendrix Lapierre scores to make it 3-2. Shots are 31-14. Come on, boys. With 5 minutes left, let's have a little cuore and passion. 3 minutes, boys. Let's go. Who's going to push late? And it sounds like nobody will, as Tom Wilson adds an empty netter. And we end this game with 16 shots over the course of 60 minutes. That is a shameful showing. Lapierre goal and 2 assists, connecting 2 assists. Sean Couturier with a goal. And we dropped that one 4-2. And not horrible, but instead of being on pace for 50 wins, we will now end the halfway point of the season being on pace for a record of 48, 28, and 6. That would still absolutely be a great record, but we'll see what comes of it. Sean Couturier on pace for 80 points right now, 40 goals, 40 assists. He has 20 and 20 at the moment. Great to see a lot of really nice totals actually right now. Claude Giroux, 10 goals, 22 assists, 32 and 41. He's on pace for a 64-point season. Morgan Frost, who already has 31 points on the year, which just 2 points away from what he did in the entirety of last season. Already twice as many goals as well with 10 in 41. He's on pace for 20 goals and 62 points. Last season scoring 33. Ice time isn't that different, is it? He's only playing an extra, not even an extra half minute. Just an extra 16 seconds a night on average. So Morgan Frost, very impressive. Joel Farabee, he's the one taking a bit of a dip in goal production, as he's only on pace for 16 goals when he scored 21 last year. Okay. But still on pace for 62 points, so I won't hit him too hard on that. Oscar Lindblom's on pace for 60 after scoring 57 last year. Owen Tippett, 27 in 38, which puts him on pace for 58 points on the season. Last year, he scored only 42, but 26 goals, on pace for the same amount of goals. He is getting a couple more minutes of ice time, almost 2.5, even more than 2.5. So I want to see Owen Tippett continuing this pace. Konechny, 27 and 41. Okay, Lawton on pace for 44 points. I like it. Ryan Ellis on pace for 44 points. Even though he's slowed down, I like that very much. Bobby Brink is on pace for 40. Do we need to increase Bobby Brink's ice time? He's only playing 10 more seconds than last year. He's on pace for 40 points. Last year, he scored 30 in 78. I would like to increase his ice time. He's already playing third line power play. I guess I could throw him on the 4-man power play, but there's not much else I can do aside from a second line boost, and that would mean demoting Konechny or Farabee, one of those guys. So keep that in mind in your suggestions. Moritz Seider on pace for 34 points. He is a -5 through 41 games. Seems to be a bit better than what the pace that he was on earlier in when we checked it out, the 20-game mark. Cam York, 15 points and a +5. Ristolainen, 11. Ratcliffe, 10 in 37. I love it. Sanheim, 8 with a +5. McEwen, 8 in 38. Allison, 7 in 41. Ronnie, 5 points, -4 in 21 games. Not too bad. So in about the same sample size, Ronnie has 2 more points and 1 more plus with less penalty minutes. So pretty negligible, but we'll keep him moving forward. Now for the goaltending so far. Carter Hart had a bit of a resurgence. No, but Malcolm Subban's still doing well, but regardless, Carter Hart is 18, 10, and 3 with 3 shutouts, 903 save percentage, 3.11 goals against. His numbers have gotten a bit better. Malcolm Subban, 6-2 and 0 with 2 shutouts, 928 save percentage, 2.11 against. Eric Comrie always there in the booth hanging out. In the AHL, we have 3 goalies. Felix Sandstrom, not even listed because he hasn't played yet, which is unfortunate. It's just Ursin and Ustamenko. We have 3 serviceable AHL goalies, but only 2 are playing at the moment. That's why I wanted one of those guys to be our third. Then Eric Comrie came on the scene because I wasn't sure about Subban, but now Subban's been doing great. If you're curious about the rest of the NHL, Alex Ovechkin currently has 29 goals and 54 points in 42 games. You can see some of the other names that are up there, and the best goalies in the NHL with the most wins. We got Hellebuck, Demko, Shesterkin, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Ville Husso on the Blackhawks, who's an 87 overall. Good for you. We'll take a moment to look around the rest of the league when we see the trade blocks. But I don't know if there's really many, if any, trades to be made, even if there's really interesting names, because I think we're on a good pace right now. For 48 wins, a lot of our players are coming together. It might be just those little tweaks. But as always, we do our due diligence. Do we even want to think about moves moving into next season? Like, for example, guys like Troy Terry, who's an RFA, he can't play this year, but we can acquire his rights and get him playing next season. That's something to keep in mind. So he's an 85 overall. He has medium top 6 potential. We don't know his fit, plus we'll probably have a different coach, so don't think about that too much. But hey, some of these RFAs may be tempting. Troy Terry in Anaheim on the trade block. In Arizona, John Klingberg for 5 more years. Anton Strawman. The Bruins prospects, the Buffalo Sabres, let's sort by overall here. They have Jack Quinn on the block, along with some other prospects. Flames have Seamek, the Hurricanes, Gunler, Drury, other prospects. Blackhawks prospects, Avalanche prospects, Blue Jackets prospects. Yeah, Dallas Stars, Blackwell. Detroit has Leddy, Murphy, Hinostroza, etc. Edmonton prospects, Florida prospects. LA Kings, Sean Corrali. Minnesota, Fost, Zingle, and Byron. The Canadians have Dumba, Edmondson, Savard, and Petrie all on the block. Edmondson, an expiring contract. He'd be a good defenseman. Nashville Predators. Prospects, New Jersey Devils, Trocheck, Gavrikov, Subban, Woods, Zadorov, and Schultz. All interesting names, but most of them on multi-year deals. New York Islanders, nobody. New York Rangers, Lafreniere. There's another RFA who's going to have lower trade value. Even though we can't play with him this year, the biggest question will be, where do these guys go? So if you're telling me, try to acquire Lafreniere or Terry, you got to tell me who comes out of the lineup. Is it Claude Giroux leaving next season after just 1 year back in Philadelphia? Or is he going to be ending his career here in Philly? He hit 1,000 points this season. He's been doing very well. He's the captain again. I don't know. We'll think about that when we get to extensions right after the trade blocks here. Ottawa, Sherratt, Zaitsev, Cahoon. Pittsburgh, Jeff Carter, JT Compher, Jordan Staal, and some other names down the list. Most of them on 1 year deals. Cousins and Benino in San Jose. No one in Seattle. St. Louis has a ton of names. Bergeron, Shen, O'Reilly, Saad, Gambrell. A lot of them on multi-year deals, but some big names there. Lightning, Cal Foote as an RFA is on the block. Toronto Maple Leafs have Shattenkirk, Brody, Sheary, and Patan. The Canucks have prospects. Vegas, McNabb, Martinez, Keith, and Hutton. Backstrom and Hag on the block in Washington. And, wow, a lot of names in Winnipeg. Drouin, Niederreiter, Mikheyev, Wheeler, Connolly, Lowry, Okposo. Very interesting to note, Blake Wheeler probably the most interesting name on an expiring deal. He has 32 points on the season. He would fit the second line. Very interesting. We can also consider extensions moving into next episode, as Claude Giroux is now eligible for an extension. He's down to an 85 overall, and he would take $4.8 million for 2 years, so even 4.6 at 1 or 3. So we could probably get him for 1, 2, 3 years at somewhere in the high 3s or low 4s. But he does have top 9 potential. He's going to continue to drop. Morgan Frost, he might be wanting more and more money, so it might be a good idea to try and sign him, but it would be a costly signing. Same for Bobby Brink, I would assume. Not too bad. We could go for 2, 3. We could do 3 or 4 years, keeping him within RFA status. Lozone, not a big deal. Other names not really as big of deals either. And unsigned, if you're curious about Matthew Savoie, he is currently at a 77 overall, still playing the WHL. He has, great amount of points. Last season, he had 110 and 72. This year, 47 and 36. He'll be poised to make the team next season. So that just about does it, ladies and gentlemen, for part 1 of year number 2, 2023-24. Things are looking pretty good so far. Just got to think, heading into the deadline, any of those names that are interesting, any of those contract extensions you want to think about, and any line changes as well. Here are the forwards, here are the defensemen, and here are the special teams right now. 4-man power play we could probably play around with. I hate the -2 there, but there's not much we can really do because, I don't know, it's not unless Farabee comes off, but he needs his ice time as well. Power play units are looking like this right now. Brink has first unit already. Lindblom on the second unit. Penalty kill looking like that. 3-man PK looking like that. And of course, our percentages right now are 21.8% on the power play, second best in the NHL, coming off of being best in the NHL last season. And penalty kill at 88.3%. Wow. Tied for third best in the league with the Islanders. So of the top teams in the NHL, we probably have some of the best special teams, as a lot of the teams with the best power penalty kill are not even in the playoff race. And for the power play, Penguins were in 27th. So we have a very good balance of the special teams right now. I'm not sure if we want to change that up too much. Yeah, that's going to be up to all of you down in the comments section, all of you assistant general managers here on YouTube, as well as over on the Discord server, link in the description if you haven't joined already. It's a great discussion for the franchise mode and all things sports, breaking news in general. And speaking of breaking news in the real world of sports, be sure to subscribe here on the channel on YouTube because you'll be made aware of all of breaking news in the league, instant analysis and reaction. The Matthew Tkachuk trade the other night was a big one. Of course, there's still probably more things coming down the road. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some other big moves in the NHL before the season starts off. So to be made aware of all of that, our uploads on franchise mode, career simulations, MLB The Show 22, and much more. Be sure to subscribe. It's free. It's much appreciated, and the team would be that much stronger with you as a part of it. So to me, sounds like it makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch. I'm looking forward to reading all of your thoughts headed into part 2 of this season as we push to win another Metropolitan Division. And I'm looking forward, of course, to seeing you once again in the next one.